101.3. We're on the FM side, Little Rock, Arkansas, the voice of the people. We welcome you to another edition of Respect for Life. You know, we're here every Sunday morning at the same hour from 8:30 until 9:30, bringing to you what we feel is relevant information to and about Black community, and it's relevant to the Black community, and it is relevant to the rest of the world. So again, we welcome you to Respect for Life. This is Brother Wayne talking to you, the host of the program. We'll be with you for 1 hour, one whole hour. That's what we did here on Respect for Life. And welcome aboard. Hopefully somebody told you about us. This is Black Talk Radio, which you don't get enough of. Lots of talk radio, very little of it is Black Talk. This is a slice of it right here on KBF. We are the community radio station, 100,000 watts going throughout the state. So we welcome you however you join us. By the way, this is called participation radio. You can get in with your comments, your questions, and just adding to the program if you so choose. Excuse me. Here's the phone number, because I admittedly don't put the number out each now. Here it is, 501-433-0088. That's 501-433-0088. This morning we have guests. We have special guests in the studio this morning, so we want you to pay close attention. If you have questions, write them down so that at the end of the presenters, you can get in with your comments or your questions. That's how we're going to do it this morning. But before we do that, I got an announcement and my hip-hop segment. Y'all don't mind if I do my hip-hop segment these brothers before I'll let y'all go get started. First of all, the announcement. There is will be a community cookout and appreciation today over in MacArthur Park, you guys, from 2 to 4. The Save Our Schools effort is having a community cookout at MacArthur Park from 2 to 4 today. Everybody listening should go over there, stop by there, and enjoy the community cookout with the Save Our Schools effort at MacArthur Park from 2 to 4. We used to be at MacArthur Park every Sunday back in the day. Any of y'all from Little Rock old enough to remember back in the day? We used to be at MacArthur Park every Sunday. Yes, sir, we sure did. Okay, you guys, before we get to my guest this morning and their presentation, I've been doing my hip-hop segment. My hip-hop segment is designed to show you that there is and was hip-hop that was positive, that was on the airwaves at one time. Now we can't say the same, so I'm doing this as a juxtaposition to what is out there now. So I'm doing hip-hop segment. And my hip-hop segment this morning, I'm going to go ahead on and get him going because this is, some of you will probably remember this. Y'all remember that? Oh, yeah, can't be.
Uniform, Sierra uniform, Foxtrot, Romeo, uniform, Charlie, Tango. Okay. And what a usufruct is basically an agreement whereby you can come in and you can work the land and the agricultural produce of the land, you can reap the profits from that. But you're not to dig in the land, you're not to mine the land, you're not to tap none of the natural resources below.
Can y'all write down how you want me to introduce you? Your name?
So young boys, you can use a lot of help, you know. You're thinking life's all about smoking weed and ice. You don't want to be my
yeah, man, because it's just like what speech that Obama gave, man, where he really walked it all the way down. Yeah, and folks was listening to it. Yeah, he walked it all the way down, man. And Hillary even walked it down a little bit in one of her speeches, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, and these are the videos are on there. They're standing in front of the flag and everything.
With the 3 Moroccan flags.
Exactly. So we got a tree.
And you can actually, even in they die, and then when they speak, you can hit it with respect. You can hit it with respect, man. You know what I'm saying? That they speak it with when they address Morocco.
Well, the reason being is because if you go to the treaty under Article 24, if there's an issue to the point where it's irreconcilable differences, they have to leave.
Right.
The Constitution must be disbanded, and they have to leave. So now what they have done is, see, you gotta understand when you're talking law in a position of the status of us or a natural man or woman in relation to the land, there's only two
Got
positions.
Amexem Amarukhan Bey.
There's
Brother ObaShango-El.
ObaShango-El.
And brother Akrab. Hassan Bey.
Three more.
There's only two positions you can take. One is sanguinis, which means the law of blood, sanguinis, and the other one is solis. Now the thing about it is, under the laws of blood, when you start researching the DNA, as far as how old it goes back in your bloodline, in your veins, through antiquity, and the landmarks on the land, and what they have, what's called genetic introgression. Various other groups of people coming from various populations of the planet and mixing in with people that was already the autochthonous or the aboriginals of the land. There's only one group of people that can take that position. It's the various people that you would call Negro, Black, and Colored.
We self-identified as Black Negro.
So that's acquiescence right there.
Yeah, exactly. Because what they're not telling you is, man, I wish we had more time because, man, I would walk this thing all the way down.
Birthright.
Everything.
Well, that's our hip-hop segment for this morning, you guys. I know some of you probably remember that tune right there. I think it's a great one. That are and were great tunes that we could play. This is just an example of what we could be doing with our music right now, which they are not doing, purposefully, I might add. So good morning again. This is Respectful Life program. We've got a show for you this morning. We've got guests in the studio. They're going to let you know. Matter of fact, we would like for you to get your pen and paper out so that you can take notes on those things that you hear this morning that you would like to question or you would like to do your own personal research on. Please do that. Take some time to get your pencil and paper right quick so you can hear this morning. This morning I have in the studio, you probably heard our brother, he's called in the program before. The brother Amexem Amarukhan Bey is in the house for us this morning. Good morning, brother. How are you, sir?
Peace, brother. Peace, brother. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Peace, brother. Peace. And we also have with our brother ObaShango-El. ObaShango, good morning, brother.
Good morning, how you doing?
Thank you, sir, for coming in this morning. And of course, our brother in the background handling his business for us, brother Akrab Hassan Bey. Did I get it right?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Of course, this is our Moorish brothers. Correct me if I'm wrong. If somebody said, who are you all collectively, what would be the answer?
Well, the truth would be we're Moors.
Okay, but is this, are you an organization as well?
No, we're a nationality.
Okay, so we're not, my first question is, you're not the Moor Science Temple?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up.
No, we're not the Moor Science Temple, but we are free Moors. But
Okay.
we do, we support the Moor Science Temple. So we ask all people that are interested in the nationality and birthrights to look into the Moor Science Temple first. That's when we direct everybody to go.
Good information already. Okay, I want to let you guys have it this morning. I invited brother in so that he could make some presentation, get his information out there, because he calls up and get 2-minute snippets. Usually at the end of the program.
Yeah, get hung up on sometimes, don't even get in. Screaming for calls.
Yeah, of course you'd be funny. We don't do that. But okay, brother. You got it. Let's go. Let's explain what's happening. Yes, sir.
Okay. First, I want to say peace to the family and the listening audience. And I want to say thank you for having me here. And this is one of my teachers that is with me here today, ObaShango-El, and one of my brothers, Akrab Hassan Bey. And I wanted to address and bring to the attention of the people nationality. Nationality is the order of the day today. Unfortunately, we have groups and entities that are in the Little Rock community or area, really all over the world, who are wrongly identifying us and who are actually denationalizing us and stealing our birthrights when they label us Negro, Black, or Colored, or African American. And today I'm going to address that. First, I want to start with the Bible verse. Any of you Bible thumpers out there, any people that are in the church, I have a Bible with me today that references your nationality. And I'm with the 1599 Geneva Bible. It was first printed in 1560. So it's about 50 or 60 years before the 1611 King James Version. And I'll go to Jeremiah chapter 13, verse 23. And if you would, in your Bible, King James, etc., follow along. And it says, in mine, can the black Moor change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may ye also do good that are accustomed to do evil. So my reference is black Moor. Moor is your nationality. Black is the adjective that has been attached to you since colonization, since the European brothers have been in the land. The churches today, I'm not calling any names, this is blanket, covers every church in the city, in the state, in the country. Any church that reads out of a Bible and calls you black are denationalizing you and are stealing your birthrights. I have a Webster's 1940 dictionary, unabridged, universal dictionary, and I'm going to read the definition of American for everybody. American, noun, an aboriginal or one of the various copper-colored natives found on the American continent by the Europeans, the original application of the name. So, you're incorrect when you call him a white man. You're incorrect when you call yourself a black person. You have a nationality. When you do not acknowledge him in his proper status, you become property of the corporation that the European has set up. And that's a fact. We have law dictionaries today. We have universal unabridged dictionaries. We have history books. We have Bibles. We have the Constitution. We have all four corners covered. If any bar members, any attorneys want to call in and challenge, do that. We're going to put the truth out today. And every person that is listening to this today that identifies himself as Negro, Black, and Colored, that is detrimental to you. And you need to stop doing that today, immediately. So, with that, I'm going to pass it on a little bit and let my brother, Toriano ObaShango-El, step in and give us a little bit of that life cut.
Thank you, Brother Amexem. I'm Toriano ObaShango-El, and primarily I deal with law and history, archaeology, and genetics. And basically, my mission has been pretty much a protector of the land and those who are the lawful birthright holders of the land. And what I've been doing recently, focusing on archaeology and genetics, showing that there has been a conspiracy to actually deprive you of who you are in regards to the laws of blood as it pertains and relates to this land. Now, some of the things I want to talk about as archaeology, and the archaeology for a minute, some of the sites that actually have been discovered and have actually been hidden from pretty much public knowledge, but you can access it if you do your due diligence. One of the burial sites that they have for some of our ancestors was found in Holliston Mills, Eastern Tennessee, and it was called the Pygmy skull sites. They call the little short people, it's a misnomer, but they're known pretty much all over the world as what they call Pygmy. But the various nationalities that they are the Atas of the Philippines, the Orang Asli of the Malays, the Twa of the Central Africa. These people were global people. Now, this burial site was radiocarbon dated to a level of, for a part of the remains that they found, was 40,000 years old. And I happened to do my DNA about 3 years ago. And what I had actually found was that I bear genetic markers from the people of the Pacific, as well as the people of the Atlantic, and what they call misnomer the Negritos and the Pygmies. I carry those genetic markers. But also, what I want to talk about is another site that's in South Carolina that was found by Professor Albert Goodyear of University of South Carolina. It's 51,700 years old. It's called the Topper site. The lowest level that they had radiocarbon dated was 51,700 years old. Now they have various other sites that they have discovered in North America. The Texas Street site in California, which is roughly 80 to 90,000 years old. the Calico site in California, which was about roughly 190 to 200,000 years old, and various other sites that stretch all the way down to Mexico, Wyatt Laco, 250,000 years old, Sierra de Capivara in Brazil, 100,000 years old, the Toca de Esperanza site in Brazil, roughly, I think, about 295,000 years old, all the way down to the Miramar archaeological find. Some of this information you can get from The Hidden History of the Human Race and Forbidden Archaeology by the author.
And when you say sites, you're talking about these excavations where bodies or bones are discovered.
Yeah, not just bones, but also human activity.
Okay.
Yeah. And some of the information that you can, some of the people you can get this information from is Michael Cremo, Hidden History of the Human Race and Forbidden Archaeology. Another good author out there is Horace Butler, but he talks about later periods of migrations dealing with the ancient Kemetians, the ancient various kingdoms of what they call West Africa. And another one is Dr. David Imhotep. He talks about various migrations 60,000 years ago where our various family members or our cousins in Africa was also coming here. And basically what I'm saying today is you have a birthright that's coursing through your veins. And if you don't know anything about it, then they're not going to tell you.
Yep.
So when you compare your genetics in regards to these ancient archaeological finds, you will find that you've been here for a very, 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 very long time, stretching not only back to tens of thousands through hundreds of thousands, but also going back to millions of years.
And when you say you're referring to?
Those people who are now classified today as Negro, Black, Colored, Afro-American, African-American, our cousins in Mexico, family in Mexico, Latinos, and these various other peoples in the Americas who they denationalized. So when you study that in comparison to law, that is what's called jus sanguinis. Jus sanguinis deals with the laws of blood. So you have this birthright that cannot be taken away from you because it's in your veins, it's in your genetics. But if you don't step up and claim it, then it's called abandonment. So now what I'd like to also talk about is another aspect of the law called jus soli, which is the law of soil, or the rights of soil. Well, if we are to analyze jus soli and the ancient kingdoms and empires that had actually come over here and set up, if you look at what they call the cocaine mummies, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with that, but they actually found that there were 134 mummies between Sudan and Egypt, what they call Egypt and Sudan today, that actually had American cocaine and nicotine in their system, showing that there was ancient maritime trade already. In Mexico, they have what's called the Temple of the Young, that if you do a helicopter flyover or airplane flyover and you look down, an aerial view of it, it's shaped just like the Egyptian Kemetic Ankh. So it shows you that there was already cultural diffusion going on a long time ago. They've also found various other archaeological remains of ancient Kemet over here, like the Pontotoc Stele, which was found right next door in Oklahoma, which has the hem of a ton on there, and it has ancient Phoenician and I want to say Kemetic writings on it. And they've also found the Davenport Stele up in Ohio, excuse me, but Iowa. And it was found in a burial mound, and it has the rites of, I can't remember the ceremony, but it deals with the opening of the mouth ceremony, dealing with ancient Asar. And it had ancient Libyan script, it had ancient Phoenician, Canaanite Phoenician script. It also had ancient Kemetic script on there. And it was found in a burial mound in 1874. Shows you that these various groups of people were all living together. Now, a lot of people like to try to make differences. Well, you know, the Egyptians and the Cushites are different people, and the Canaanites are different people. Let me dispel that right now. Those ancient, and it branched off or variated into E1B1A and E1B1B, and it sub-branched off into various categories. So we're talking about basically cousins. They're all consanguineous, all related. So the only difference is, it would be like if you have a first cousin, and his name may be Smith, and yours is Jones. But the same blood. Right. So this is what we're dealing with. There was a continuous migration and an establishment of the ancient empires coming over from North Africa, as well as the land claim in and of itself, the ones who actually said that they claimed the land, which is, if you look up the adverse possession, how they claimed the land, what actually fall under adverse possession, that was Hanno the Navigator, who was either the great-great or the great-great-great-grandfather of Hannibal of Carthage.
Right.
And he actually filed, wrote in stone, the Orange Stone up in Cape Cod Bay, Massachusetts, where it said, a proclamation of annexation, do not deface, with this Hanno takes possession. And he annexed the entire Americas to what is known today as the Iberian Peninsula. But the Iberian Peninsula at that time was part of the Carthaginian Empire. And a various subgroup of them, which is the Punic Iberians. So if you go to your Bible, and you can look up Deuteronomy chapter 19:14, Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 17, Proverbs 22, Deuteronomy chapter 19:14.
What was the second one you said?
Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 17. And hold on, let me give you these last two. And Proverbs 22, verse 28, and Proverbs 23:10. It will tell you about the law of landmarks.
You went kind of fast there, brother.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 14.
14, all right.
Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 17.
17.
Proverbs 22, verse 28. Proverbs 23, verse 10. And it talks about the ancient law of landmarks. Now, if anybody knows, when it comes to those people that they call Hebrew, the ancient script is actually that of what they call Proto-Canaanite, which gives offshoots to the Phoenician script, the Punic Iberian scripts. There were various subgroupings of the parent script, what they call Proto-Canaanite. So when we're talking about these ancient landmarks, then you actually have to look at the language that the people spoke and what actually, dealing with this Bible, where it actually came from, because most of that came out of the ancient text of Kemet. And you're dealing with the laws of Ma'at, and the laws of Ma'at actually talk about Principle 8, I have not stolen anyone's land.
Let me say this right quick. First of all, you listen to KBF 88.3. This is the Respect for Life program. We have guests in the house today. Three Moors are here, and they are explaining to you information that they understand that we need to know. And I'm going to ask that, and I see when you're speaking like you're speaking to me and we're speaking to Ann. We've got a lot of information that we can understand the terms you're using, and we hear some of the things you're saying, and I don't want you to teach us, though. I want you to teach those persons out here listening that may be hearing this information for the first time. So, if you will, and maybe you can, maybe there's no other way of doing it. I'm just asking if you can, because you've been going to some heavy stuff here, and there's some people out here that are not hearing.
I don't mean to cut your wisdom. We're just trying to put this in the format. We're just having a regular conversation. This is just regular talk for us.
Well, maybe it is.
We apologize. We're not trying to talk above you. This is but Black's Law Dictionary, West Business Law Dictionary.
That's all I need.
This is what we did.
Regular talk for y'all. Okay,
this regular talk.
Come on, have a good bit.
All right. So basically, when you look at these ancient laws, like the laws of Ma'at, Principle 8, and when you go into the various scriptures of the Bible, you find that they correspond and they correlate. And when you come on down, you see that you have a birthright, not only just by the ancient sites that I've given you from North to South America that's in your veins, but also we're also a mixture of these various kingdoms and empires that came over here through what's called genetic admixture, and they also left landmarks too. So your land has been thoroughly landmarked long before the European even existed on the planet, or those that they call the American Indian or Native American. So the thing about it is, when you look at the Bornstone, and now from the Bornstone, let's go into the historical aspects of religion, Christianity and Islam. Then when you step it down, coming forth from the BC, or what they call the BC era, before Christianity, before Christian era, on down to the AD era, what they call Anno Domini, Well, the first people to actually build a church upon the land was Morocco.
That's right.
Morocco built the church in Kukapunza Forest, Connecticut, roughly about 450 to 480 AD.
That's right.
And not only did they leave markings down here, but you had Libyan Moors that had come to Arkansas, and down in Crawford County, Arkansas, if you look at, there's a book called, that's put out by the Bureau of Land Management. They talk about Libyan Christian script that they found down in the Narrows Cave shelters here in Crawford County, Arkansas. Now, these various groups were early, what they call, quote-unquote, African Christianity. But when that church was put there in 450 AD in Connecticut, the monks actually had gone back home and had written in stone in Morocco, the name of the land that was known at the time was called Shamal, which means the northern land of the continent lying beyond the sunset. And as Islam had come on the scene, shortly after that, about 2 centuries after that, they started coming over here because our cousins have always known about this, and they've always known about
Always
it.
been here.
And they started, you can find that they have left Islamic inscriptions in stone in Nevada, Arizona, all the way up to New England, and they found dirhams, Islamic dirhams, coins and everything.
So when you're talking land markings, you're talking about edifice or some form of things that were left here that demonstrated the fact that somebody had been here.
We here, this is our land, we've been here.
Yes,
exactly.
And the funny part about it is not only somebody had been here, but somebody is still here.
That's right.
Through the ancient Paleo-American autochthonous aborigine blood, which is us, and the genetic admixture of these various peoples coming over here. You are them today. So basically, like I said, from my studies is to correlate all of this genetic and archaeological information and historical facts with the law to help us regain what has been stolen and return back to our lawful nationality.
That's right.
There's a lot of information I can go into as recent as the 1930s New Deal from Franklin Delano Roosevelt, congressional records showing where the lawful form of government was deposed and another one was put in its place called the democracy, and how the 14th Amendment through the Georgia State Archives, they tell you that there was a General Assembly joint resolution passed where the 14th Amendment was never ratified. In 1957.
That's right.
And then Louisiana came back in 1967 and passed a joint resolution showing that the 14th Amendment was never ratified. There was a treatise written by Judge L.H. Perez showing that it was never ratified in various cases throughout the states, such as the Judge A.H. Elliott in Utah, Diet versus Turner case, where he showed that actually it was fraud. And the thing about it is, our people have been existing under what's called color of law. Color of law and human trafficking. Because if I steal your nationality from you and reclassify you as something and don't tell you, and you are moved through commerce as an article, that's actually, according to their own definition, human trafficking. But not only are our people suffering from birthright theft and human trafficking, the way the system is set up today, everyone is up underneath human trafficking.
That's right. And just to go back on something you said a few seconds ago, if we remember just a couple years ago, man, when Mike Huckabee was getting ready to run for president, he actually made the same statement you're making right now, that it was never ratified. The 14th Amendment was never ratified.
The 14th Amendment is the one, what, equal protection?
The 14th Amendment supposedly gives Negroes, blacks, and colors citizenship. That makes them U.S. citizens under the law. You are not, if you're a Negro, black, and colored, you are not a citizen. And you are not Negro, black, and colored, so that means you're not a citizen too. Go ahead.
It is a corporate policy, citizenship, but corporations, we all know, can't have citizens. McDonald's, Walmart can't have citizens.
Exactly, that's right.
So
there's no such thing as a sovereign citizen.
That's an oxymoron.
Sovereignty comes within the nationality. That's how you have your sovereignty. But if you have no nationality, you have no sovereignty. You're just property of the people who you contracted with. The state of Arkansas, is a preposition. State of Arkansas is a corporation that's on the stock market doing business If you have an ID card from the state of Arkansas, you are their property, period. They can knock your head off, they can shoot you, they can come to your house. Visitation in a law book means they're coming to check the allegiance of your nationality.
Does that include a license?
A license is permission from the person who colonized you to move freely on your own land. A license is your right. They take it.
It's a permission thing.
Exactly. But you can't give me permission because I'm in my own land. You understand? But if you got the concept, you can only go to get your baby some diapers or whatever from your license that you got downtown at the revenue. You're out of it. You're out to lunch. If that's the only your concept is there, you're out to lunch. And we're trying to change the concept so people can think freely. You got to think freely. You have the right to travel. Your right to travel, to go and do whatever you need to do, is your right. Nobody can convert your right into a privilege and then sell it back to you. You have to literally be out of your mind in order to agree with that.
And this is
and
why
that's what's wrong with us.
And this is why when you go into court, they make you sign before you actually walk into the courtroom. And you sign it away your rights to be tried under the Constitution.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, but that's why we tell people, whenever you sign your nom, all rights reserved.
That's right.
You need to sign all rights reserved. Matter of fact, you don't even have to put your nom on there. You can just say all rights reserved. That's going to protect you, at least give you an out. So when they come at you talking crazy, look here now, I reserve my right not to agree with that.
That's right. That's right.
Let me go ahead and add on to that. There's a U.S. Supreme Court case, you can look it up. It's called Cox versus Louisiana, and that was 1965. And Epperson versus Arkansas, which was 1968. In these cases, they openly admit the treason that has been committed in the overthrow of the republic by saying that they are a democracy. Now, you understand that Supreme Court cases are what they call stare decisis and res judicata. So it's not like you can put that out there later on, go and say, I take it back.
Right.
Now, some records you may want to look at, Henry Thorkelson, representative of Montana, 1939, just do a little research on him, 1940. Not Henry Thorkelson, excuse me, Jacob Thorkelson. Jacob Thorkelson. And 1939, 1940, representative of Montana. He talked about, he was the only man that protested during the New Deal era about, are y'all just going to sit back and let them usurp and overthrow the republic and bring in this democracy? He actually had gone on record and said that the New Deal of Franklin Delano Roosevelt is a coup d'etat. He said that. He said that it's a coup d'etat. And if you don't do nothing later on, our descendants are going to look back at us and say, what did you do? So now, here it is.
Here it is. Here it is.
Almost 80 years later.
With the new administration.
Yeah, the New Deal of Franklin Delano Roosevelt's administration. And then the same thing dealing with the records of Representative Rarick from Louisiana and Representative Pryor from Arkansas dealing with the 14th Amendment. He was saying that the judges are actually, who are using this 14th Amendment, are actually secessionist judges. They're committing treason. And he said that they have passed so many colorable laws over this 14th Amendment to try to give it validity, but a fraud is a fraud.
That's right.
And he's saying that hopefully we can leave this in the record so that the descendants later on can come and use this and do a public protest or to gain their remedy, to show that, hey, this is a fraud that you've done, and fraud vitiates all forms of contract and makes them void ab initio, which means from the beginning.
So let me, if I can, let me bring this information to a current plight that we have today.
Yes.
Is this the reason why we get no remedy when we go to court as far as the police murders in the streets?
That's exactly the reason why.
Is this the reason why they can come back and acquit and we can actually sit here and watch it on video,
Yes.
watch it on Facebook,
Yes.
you know, over and over? We can clearly see that this is right.
That's exactly the reason why. I like to go in on that if I may.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When the initial document that stole your birthright and your nationality, once again, that is also an international human right protected by the treaty, UN Charter Treaty of 1945, United States Statutes at Large, volume 59, stat 1033 through 1218, articles 55, A through C, and 56, tells you that you have they're supposed to protect your human rights. And the Declaration of Human Rights, the UN Declaration of Human Rights after that, no, this is before the drip.
Before the drip.
Yeah, 1948, Article 15 says you have a right to a nationality. Okay, the UN Declaration on the Rights of the Child, Principle 3 says the child from birth shall be entitled to a name and a nationality. So, when they steal this from you at birth, everyone knows that a noun is a person, place, or a thing. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, when they remove your nationality, you become an it, a thing, or what they call res, an article that's under admiralty law that you can basically go back and forth and say, I have the rights to this. No, I have the rights to this. Well, what they have done with human beings, or us, our people, and various other groups of people, was since that was stolen at birth, you are a thing. So when they shoot you down, it's an argument over property. It's not an argument over a human life.
That's right.
And if you don't have a nationality, you are considered what's called dead in the eyes of the law, also known as civiliter mortuus. So once you go into court, and you're already dead in the eyes of the law, you can't even argue over the thing.
You just going through the motion.
You just going through the motion.
It can't talk.
So that's why the officers saying that my life was threatened, I felt threatened for my life, takes precedent over
a thing.
Exactly.
Over an object.
They clearly exonerate.
Exactly. And then they have enough, the prosecutors and the people who belong to the Bar Association, they have enough guts and courage to look at you and lie to your face. Even the ones that look like us, that who we think are working for us, that are part of the Bar Association, are working against you. If anybody goes under color of law and places you in a courtroom and defends in front of the international community that you are Negro, Black, and colored, if they say that, they are selling you. That's what that is. That's selling you. That's human trafficking.
And so that really means all attorneys.
Yeah.
That means all attorneys.
Tell them
Anybody who's a member of the
Bar
bar.
Association.
I mean, because there's no license, there's no school
practice
of law in the
there
state
is
of Arkansas.
No.
So how are you an attorney in the state of Arkansas with no school?
Fraud.
Right.
Yeah.
People are agreeing to it because most Negro, Black, colored people, we're not gonna read. As soon as somebody says something out of a book, we're not gonna read. We're gonna thump the biblios, you know, and the pastors, they're not going to teach nothing.
That's right.
Because they get the 501c3 kickback to keep you in a dead state and apply the Christian Black Code to 1724. So people need to watch the Christian Black Code to 1724 is what is being implemented on you.
We got to 9:30.
So that's what's going on.
I was pointing out the clock because we 11 after and we got to 9:30, and I want y'all to make sure you get the presentation, but we got people wanting to get in.
Okay, sounds good.
They want to ask questions.
Well, I'll say this, there is so much more that I can actually tell you. You can go to my website,
Okay, great.
it's www.ObaShango-El.com, and that's Oscar, Bravo, Alpha, Sierra, Hotel, Alpha, November, Golf, Oscar, Echo, Lima, ObaShango-El.com. And I have a plethora of resources by which you can do your own due diligence at your leisure.
Man, but before y'all get out of here, I do want y'all to talk about.
No, they're not going anywhere.
I know, that's just something I get. We're gonna take calls, but before I do want to, like the actual, where the bait and switch actually happened, the birth certificate. But I want y'all, before y'all, but we're gonna open it up. We're gonna open it up for some people who've been waiting, but I want y'all to touch that before we leave.
No, that's a good point. Go ahead on and get that in.
The bait and switch actually happened during the New Deal, but it was predicated on the marking of chattel property during chattel servitude, the era of chattel servitude in America that led up to the quote-unquote Civil War. And contrary to popular belief, Europeans were also born into chattel servitude on these
Europeans were
plantations.
slaves before they.
That's where the term slave comes from.
It's Slav.
Exactly.
They're using it connotatively right now, so you think it applies to you, but it don't. But it applies.
Right. Exactly. Go back to the blood again.
In the New Deal, the United States had already declared bankruptcy, and Louis T. McFadden had gone on the record, congressional records, you can look him up as well, and protested what they had done dealing with the Federal Reserve. Well, once all the gold had been pretty much, stolen, as well as the silver, well, Franklin Delano Roosevelt had put in edicts, executive orders against gold and silver, and to get more credit, which is not money. Money is gold and silver. To get more credit, they had to pledge property. The birth certificate is a certificate of you being pledged for the receipt of credit. And that is where the bait and switch began during the New Deal.
Yep, right. That's what I wanted to touch, man.
They pledging you
Yes, sir.
to get credit, to get the money. So that green thing you got in your pocket that you think you trapping for, you think you fool.
Those are evidences of your involuntary servitude.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
We ready for some questions? You got?
Let's go.
Let's open it up. Good morning, thanks for holding. Welcome to Respect for Life. Good morning, welcome to Respect for Life. You got a comment or question for our guest?
Yes, I do. And first I want to say, Peter, so thank you. And it's like Big Chris said, it's like trying to put 110-pound sack.
Yes.
The question is, there were slaves bought over. Will the slaves that were bought over get to claim this nationality as being Moors, or is this just for the people that were already here? And I will special thanks to Brother Amexem, and will ask him to read that where it talked about the afraid Moors in the Bible. And thank you so much, and
Thank you for the question,
we're
brother.
moving toward nation time.
Thank you for the question, brother. Okay.
Yes, I'd like to take that question. Nationality is for everyone. It is not only a divine mandate, but it's also a mandate in international law. Now, contrary to what you have been taught about, quote unquote, the slave trade actually began over here. And it actually was roughly started in 1493, where they started shipping us from these lands by the tens of thousands. The Spanish did this. And when the English and the Dutch and these various other groups of people that actually come over, they was actually snatching us from the northwestern hemisphere, which was what they call, i.e. North America, and selling us in the South America. And South America, our family was shipped up to North America, and basically they moved us around like musical chairs. There was not that much of what they call, quote unquote, our slave trade coming in from Africa like they taught you. That was very, very few. Most of it was taking place on the Americas, switching us around and up and down the Mississippi. And that's what they didn't tell you. They was actually going in on our lands, snatching us, and the sad part about it is they actually had a little help from the neighboring tribes of the Mongoloids that had actually come over, whom they called the American Indians. But they also had some help, let's just tell the truth, some from our own indigenous tribes who had problems with each other. So yes, this nationality is for you. It's a divine mandate. The United Nations said that, Principle 3, that you're entitled to that from birth.
And if I could, just to answer the brother Sullivan that called in, that would be Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 9, and I'll read that. And in that day shall their messengers go forth from me in ships, to make the careless Moors afraid, and fear shall come upon them as in the day of Egypt, for lo, it cometh. You're the Moors that this Bible is talking about. You're Judah, you are the tribe of Judah, you are Israel. I have maps in this Bible right now, in this Bible, that says you are Moorish, and we have historical books here that says the Moorish government ruled the world. You've been denationalized and labeled black. So it's nationality time. We need our people to wake up.
You're listening to KBF 88.3. This is Respect for Life program. Our guests in the studio this morning, Brother Amexem, Brother ObaShango, and Brother Akrab are here giving you the information. You can actually ask questions this morning too if you get your call in right quick. 501-433-0088. 501-433-0088. We got about 18 more minutes left in the program. Take some calls for our guest this morning. At the root of his question, well, somebody came in with somebody already. Let's do it. Good morning. Thanks for holding. Welcome to Respect for Life.
Yes, I was calling to see, now that I know that we actually citizen of this land, how can I represent myself as far as paperwork, things of that nature?
Thank you for the call, brother.
So,
You want to know how can he represent himself? How can he?
There's various groups of people that can help him. I have it on my website, ObaShango-El.com. You also have RVBayPublications.com.
Will you get a identification card?
Yes,
or-
yes. At these, with Brother Shango here, he does, I'll let him speak on that, but I did go through a website, RVBayPublications.com, that we have for the people. It's called RVBayPublications.com. And that's all one word. And what we do suggest is, and we know people that are listening to this today, that have just found out about the birthright, you're new to this. So we request that you study for at least a year before you even get your identification card and start trying to operate out here, because this information is so powerful. You need to be in the right mind frame so you can have the concept right, because
That's just it.
your enemy knows that your concept isn't right. He's going to kill you. So what we're saying is, again, don't be a man. Death is no enemy to man. I'm not afraid to die. Nothing can kill me. So I'm going to stand on my birthright. I'm going to exercise and tell you I am the American. You're the European, and you're in my land.
So you the invader.
And if you're here colonizing my land, I'm going to treat you the way how you're acting.
Good. I just want to let call in. You there, caller?
yes.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Hey, this is Mac.
Good morning, brother Mac.
In conversations like this, my response is, and question is, the basic needs of a human is food, shelter, and clothing. How does this information get us to food, shelter, and clothing, making a living every day? Because there's a big stretch from the intellectual and cognitive knowledge of this to the practical everyday living of it. You see what I'm saying? So bridge that gap.
Okay.
Good call. Thank you, brother.
Good call. Good question, brother. You do not have to quit your job. If you're employed right now, you do not have to quit your job. We understand people have families. You have to take care of your families. We understand that. What we're saying is, when you go to that employer to contract with them, you need to have your own identification. You don't need to go with somebody else's identification proving that they own you and then contract. With the nationality card, look, brother, I have checks that I haven't even cashed yet. Because I haven't wanted to cash them. But no taxes, no federal, no state. When you declare your nationality, you become America, and they cannot tax you in your own land.
Yes, I'd like to add to that. One of our clan members, we have a clan, Sheer Kansu Thunder Clan on the board. I'm not going to say her name, but she works for the state. And the Human Resources Department didn't actually understand about nationality and status, so she said, send it to your people. So when it came back, based on her corrected status, who she is, the state had told these people, state of Arkansas, she does not pay any state or federal taxes based on who she is, her nationality.
Yep.
So you can still contract,
Yeah, you
but you just contract in your proper status.
Yeah, that's it.
Good morning. Thanks for holding. Welcome to Respect for Life. Got a question for us?
Sure. I just need a, please give us a phone number. Everybody doesn't have internet. Please give us a phone number.
Need a phone number for contact purposes. Thank you for the call.
Yeah, I'll give you contact number. You can contact me at 1-501-232-7522. And that's 1-501-232-7522. If you do not reach me, please just leave a message.
Especially if you don't get your question or comment in. Was getting to a questioning or asking was, we have a situation of disproportionate poverty in our communities. Our youngsters, I use the term thirsty, our young people are thirsty.
Yes, sir.
And it's because they don't have, the ability to meet these obligations that we have out here. Is there anything in your understanding of teaching that would prevent you from working with other conscious people to remedy that issue, the issue of poverty in our community?
No, there's not, because our job basically, like I said, mine is a protector of the land, and overall, the Moors are here to uplift fallen humanity. So no, there's not. The thing about it is that once you start to move in commerce, you have to understand that all of this stuff has been monopolized and has been placed under trusteeship. The lawful trusteeship of the land belongs to Morocco. They actually have the claim, the name of the land, and they received it from their ancestors, the Carthaginians, with the Moorish stone. So current Morocco over there, the kingdom, is actually the trustee of the empire, which is the greater part over here, or North or South America. So you have to come into, it's all trust law. Once you get back into trust law, then you can start moving like Brother Amexem, like the sister I told you about, where you're no longer underneath this foreign colonial occupation, militarized existence, where everything has to be done this way or that way according to militarization and occupation, and we can start to generate wealth. Because if you had just 1,000 people alone, operating in their birthright, who were able to pool just what you would actually get, what they're stealing from your checks via taxes, if you pool that together, you can do a lot with it.
Yeah.
Then you can start building community gardens. You can have aquaponics, hydroponics, agriculture. You can feed yourself.
But it all comes back to the land.
It all comes back to the land.
That's all you need. You need your land, man.
Wealth is the generator of land.
Yeah, and you are the walking land, because why? You have the Paleo-American autochthonous Aborigine genetics inside you, so you're walking wealth. They're not going to tell you this.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So just under the scriptures, it tells you who owns the land.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And every pastor should be endorsing this.
Yeah.
Every last pastor should be endorsing us, because we can go to treaties from the 1700s. I've got historical books. We've got, and if I could, I've got the proclamation from the city mayor.
We've got 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. If this was given to me back in 2012, and I want to start off with it and read through it real fast. Whereas the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, Hammatites, and Canaanites who were permitted by the old pharaohs of Kemet to traverse from East Africa and later form themselves kingdoms, extending from the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, the Atlantic islands onto the present-day continental Americas. And whereas the indigenous Moorish peoples of the Americas are now united in order to again link themselves with the family of nations. And whereas the Moorish Americans, being aboriginal to the territories of North, South, and Central Americas, have formed a sovereign theocratic government guided by the command principles, listen to this, the command principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, through virtue of universal right to self-determination, as well as the Declaration on Rights of Indigenous Peoples guaranteed in the Charter. And whereas on January 8, 1886, Noble Drew Ali was born in the state of North Carolina, destined to become the first patriot of his mentally enslaved Moorish American people. In 1912, he was later anointed El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali by the heads of Egypt and holy city of Mecca to return to the United States as the last prophet and founding father of the newly risen nation of Moorish Americans. As a result of the 13th Amendment, Moorish peoples were emancipated from slavery in 1865. Now, therefore, I, Mark Stodola, mayor of the city of Little Rock, do hereby proclaim January 8th through the 15th as Moorish American Week in the city of Little Rock. This was given to me in 2012. And I have went to several churches and showed pastors at the churches, look, the city and the state, they know who we are as Moors, and you need to be telling the people this. However, the ones who are getting the 501c3 kickbacks that you're throwing your money into every Sunday, they don't want to tell you this, because as soon as you know the truth, you don't necessarily have
So Noble Drew Ali is the spiritual leader of
Noble Drew Ali is a prophet who brought this knowledge to us himself.
He brought us back the international law pertaining to nationality.
I ain't waiting until we get there.
Hold on, I think somebody's there. Good morning, thanks for holding. Welcome to Respectful Life. Got a question before our guest? Hotel.
Get the statement and a comment. Excuse me, a question. First of all, I don't want to be aggressive, but I don't want to make an issue about the process and the concept, but we do not need to minimize the Holocaust, the Middle Passage, and all the millions of brothers that was lost during that time. Also, it said that we would be in a strange land for 400 years, and the whole world is Africa. I just want to know what's your reference when you reference that we will be be in a strange land for 400 years? Thank you.
That's the cop. Anybody?
Yeah, yeah. The reference to being a strange land for 400 years is, that's the European. Now, I gotta admit something. Some things in this book, in this Bible, have been rewritten and have been, how do I say, watered down to give you a phony concept.
Interpolations.
Exactly. So, some of these passages in here aren't to be taken literally. You understand? So, again, you were already here. When you say an Egyptian, when you say a Mizraimite, when you say Noah, Shem, Ham, Noah, and Japheth, all of those were Moors. Every last one of them. There were no Caucasians when Noah was walking the planet. So,
good answer. Wrap it up for us, gentlemen. Anything you want to say in closing?
Yes, in closing, I would like to say, please start, learning about your Paleo-American, autochthonous, Aborigine heritage, and as well as your Amarukhan Moorish nationality. The land is held in trust, and in order for us to solidify our commerce, we have to come back into proper identification so we can go ahead and access the trust and start to build.
and I want to say shout out to my woman. I love you, baby. Thank you for being my backbone. And brothers, love your woman, man. Y'all love your woman, and if you're away from home, go home and take care of your children.
I heard that, bro. That was an excellent end right there. Hey, what do y'all think? Okay, did good?
I love it.
I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Very good. Yes, sir.
I got a feeling we'll be back. I got a feeling they're going back.
Hey, listen, you guys, this show, you can get it if you text me your email address. I can send you this show. If you text me your